I was reading a biography about Steve Jobs. It was really an engaging book. You should read it. But one thing really stood out for me. I've heard it all before that he was an asshole, but I didn't realize to what extent he really was an asshole. What made it more interesting is that actually people both admire and respect him dearly while being deathly afraid and freaking stressed of him. How can this jerk who treats other people like trash bring something like an iPod or an iPhone to reality with the help of thousands of people under his company? This is what we call a paradox. Let's just say it is. So anyway, I did a quick reading on why Steve Jobs was the way he was. There were theories that he had a narcissistic personality disorder, but I wanted to find out more than just about Steve Jobs. How come different people arrive at different opinions about people? You also have probably encountered a jerk at the office who other people really like. I mean, what's up with that? So I did some reading. It turns out it's actually a common problem in psychology, specifically when trying to deal with the study of personalities. Researchers in the field have long since grappled with the problem of observer bias. How can one be sure that an observer's assessment of someone's personality is truly objective? How can we be sure that an asshole is truly an asshole? Problems arise when they notice both experts and laymen tend to overestimate personal factors and underestimate situational factors in interpreting personality. It means that the behavior can be attributed more to the situation rather than the person. And they encountered another problem. It was quite possible that what they were actually measuring is a reflection of the thinking of the observer rather than an accurate picture of the person being observed. This suggests perhaps that personality lies in the eye of the observer. So how do we figure things out? Well, in general, there are two kinds of approaches. When the observations focus only on the individuals themselves and applies those observations for that specific context, it's an idiographic approach. For example, if someone steals your lunch at work, you can only say that that person is a jerk for that day, or a jerk when it comes to personal ownership of food, but not quite a total asshole overall. That's the idiographic approach. Idiographic. On the other hand, when they use generalizable concepts to describe a person, or they assume that the behavior is caused by certain rules, it's a nomothetic approach. When you take a personality test, that's using a nomothetic approach. Nomothetic. Okay, so that's it. So there are two ways, and we're not really sure what to use? No. I want to seek objective truth. Let's go to physics. Physics won't fail us. Physics has allowed Elon Musk to build rockets and create Teslas. Physics is exact. They won't have this problem. And that's what I thought. Until I encounter Niels Bohr. Niels Bohr was a leading physicist during his time, and he was particularly interested in the field of quantum physics. He proposed that any quantum object, that is, an object that is very, very small, can be observed as having properties of that of a wave, or observed as having properties of that of a particle, but not both at the same time. This is mainly dependent on how you observe it. More specifically, what experiments you use to observe the quantum object. He calls it the complementarity principle. So in this case, the quantum object's property is in the eye of the experimenter. So all these things, from our perception of the office jerk, to psychology to physics, all have the same problem. The difficulty of measuring things, the importance of context. Okay, I know what you're thinking. One of the biggest concerns with a concept such as the complementarity principle is that it's an argument against the existence of free will. I mean, if atoms are affected by these shifty quantum objects, and atoms make up the action potentials in our neurons, and those neurons make up our nervous system, which in turn controls our decision making, and if all of these are true, then we should just go out, start a riot, rob a bank, or kick a baby in the face. Right? And you're not alone in thinking about this. This discussion about our perception of reality Determinism and free will have long since been a debate among people such as Heisenberg and Einstein. At the end of all this, maybe the point is that learning about complementarity should trigger some sort of a mindset change. Maybe save the judgment for a new co-worker until we can meet and work with them. I mean, it's always unfortunate to lose an opportunity to work with other people, simply because we immediately adopt other people's perspectives. So what about that jerk from the office? Well, consider this. Try putting that person in new situations that are light and pressure-free. Maybe go out and have a drink with them. Just make sure it's also enjoyable for you, as you're the one observing them. And after all of this, if they're definitely still a jerk, then at least you can be sure of two things. 1, they're an idiographically certified jerk. And 2, their being a jerk is much more established than our current understanding of reality.